Better than before. Mastering the Habits of Our Everyday Lives, by Gretchen Rubin. Introduction. Imagine this for a moment. A young woman, a friend of the author, is talking about her life. She's frustrated. "I just don't get it," she says. "Back in high school, I was on the track team. I never, ever missed a practice. Rain, shine, tired, whatever, I was there. But now, I can't make myself go for a run to save my life. It's the same person, the same activity. So why is it so different now? Why can't I do it?" That simple question. Why? It's a question that echoes in all of our lives, isn't it? We know we should exercise, eat better, save more money, or stop scrolling on our phones so late at night. We make resolutions. We buy the gym membership. We download the app. For a few days, maybe even a few weeks, we feel that surge of motivation. This time, it's going to be different. And then, it isn't. The old patterns creep back in, and we find ourselves right back where we started, only now with an added layer of frustration and self-blame. That question, that simple why, from a friend over lunch, is what sent author Gretchen Rubin on a years-long quest to understand the invisible forces that shape our lives. She dove into science, philosophy, and history, but most importantly, she became a street scientist, observing the patterns in everyday people. The result is her phenomenal book, Better Than Before, a work that has helped millions of people finally understand the hidden architecture of their daily existence. What she discovered is a truth so simple, yet so profound, that it changes everything. The reason we fail at our habits isn't because we're lazy or because we lack willpower. It's because we're trying to use the wrong tools. We're following advice that was meant for someone else. In our time together today, I'm going to share with you the core secrets from this incredible book. And here's my promise to you. By the end of this journey, you will understand yourself in a way you never have before. You'll discover which of 4 simple, powerful personality types you fall into, a discovery that will act as a master key, unlocking why you succeed at certain things and struggle with others. You'll learn not just how to build good habits, but how to build the right habits, in the right way, for you. This isn't about another quick fix. This is about decoding your own nature so that you can finally make lasting change feel not just possible, but effortless. So, let's begin that journey and uncover the fateful tendencies that make you who you are. Book summary. Have you ever stopped to think about how much of your day is on autopilot? That first cup of coffee you reach for in the morning, the route you take to school or work, the way you brush your teeth. You don't consciously decide to do these things. You just do them. Researchers estimate that habits, these automatic behaviors, make up a staggering 45% of our daily lives. Almost half of your existence is governed by an invisible script. Now, think about the power locked inside that number. If nearly half of what you do is automatic, then changing your habits isn't just a small tweak. It's about rewriting the very code of your life. If you change your habits, you change your future. It's a beautiful thought, but it brings us right back to that nagging question. If it's so important, why is it so hard? Gretchen Rubin realized that the entire world of self-help was built on a flawed premise. We're constantly given one-size-fits-all solutions. Start small, one expert says. No, go big or go home, says another. You need an accountability partner. No, you need to rely on your own inner strength. It's no wonder we fail. It's like being given a screwdriver and told it can fix any problem, whether you're working on a watch or building a house. The most important discovery Rubin made, the absolute foundation of her entire philosophy, is this: to master your habits, you must first know yourself. You can't build a happy, successful life by copying someone else's blueprint. You have to build it on the foundation of your own nature. And the most crucial piece of self-knowledge you can have is understanding how you respond to one thing: expectations. Think about it. Every habit you try to form, from waking up earlier to practicing an instrument, is an expectation you set for yourself. But we don't just face our own expectations. We also face expectations from the outside world, a deadline from a boss, a request from a friend, a traffic law. How you react to those two forces, outer expectations and inner expectations, determines your tendency. This is Rubin's brilliant framework, her sorting hat for human nature, and once you know your tendency, the fog of confusion around your habits begins to clear. There are 4 tendencies. As I describe them, see if you can feel which one resonates most with you. First, we have the upholder. Upholders respond readily to both outer expectations and inner expectations. Their motto is, "Discipline is my freedom." They wake up in the morning and look at their schedule or their to-do list, and they simply do it. If a boss gives them a deadline, they'll meet it, probably early. If they make a New Year's resolution to go to the gym 3 times a week, they just go. They love rules, order, and predictability. They have no trouble meeting commitments to others, and just as importantly, they have no trouble meeting commitments to themselves. Others can rely on them, and they can rely on themselves. To an upholder, keeping a promise to yourself is just as important as keeping a promise to someone else. Now, this might sound like the perfect personality, but upholders have their own struggles. They can feel trapped by the rules, sometimes following them even when it makes no sense. They can be rigid, and they can struggle in situations where the expectations aren't clear. Rubin herself is an upholder, and she shares a story about being in a coffee shop years ago when a barista told her she couldn't use her laptop. To this day, every time she enters a new coffee shop, a part of her worries she's breaking a rule. That's the upholder mindset. They love habits and find them deeply gratifying, but even they have to work to form good ones. The upholder category, it turns out, is surprisingly small. Next, we have the questioner. Questioners question all expectations. They will only do something if they believe it's justified. They resist anything arbitrary or unfair. Their motto is, "I'll comply, if you convince me why." Essentially, they turn every outer expectation into an inner one. A doctor might tell a questioner to take vitamins, but if the questioner does their own research and concludes that vitamins aren't necessary for them, they simply won't take them. It doesn't matter that an expert said so, it matters that it makes sense to them. They are motivated by logic, reason, and efficiency. They love to gather information and make their own decisions. If a questioner decides that a habit is worthwhile, that exercising every morning is the most efficient way to boost their energy and health, they will stick to it with incredible determination. But they won't do it just because it's a rule or because that's what you're supposed to do. They hate waiting in line, because it feels like an inefficient and arbitrary waste of time. A questioner wouldn't make a New Year's resolution, because January 1st is an arbitrary date. Why wait? If it's a good idea, they'll start now. Their challenge? They can get stuck in analysis paralysis, always needing one more piece of information before they act. And their constant questioning can be frustrating for the people around them who just want them to do what's asked. The third tendency, and this is the largest category by a huge margin, is the obliger. Obligers readily meet outer expectations, but they struggle to meet inner expectations. Their motto is, "You can count on me, and I'm counting on you to count on me." This is the friend from the opening story. As a student on the track team, she had a coach and teammates counting on her. That outer accountability was everything. She would never let them down. But now, as an adult, the only person counting on her to go for a run is herself. And for an obliger, that's often not enough. Obligers are the rocks of the world. They make terrific colleagues, friends, and family members because they go to incredible lengths to meet their responsibilities to others. Deadlines, late fees, the fear of letting someone down, these are powerful motivators. But when it comes to things they want for themselves, to work on a personal project, to exercise, to read more, they struggle. A promise to themselves is easily broken. A promise to someone else is sacred. The key for an obliger to succeed with an inner expectation is to create a system of outer accountability. They are masters of this. An obliger who wants to read more joins a book club where they'll be expected to have read the book. An obliger who wants to exercise signs up for a class with a strict no-show fee, or makes a plan to meet a friend at the gym, because they would never leave their friend waiting. They are powerfully motivated by being a role model. An obliger parent might finally start practicing the piano only because they want their child to see them do it. Their big danger is burnout. Because they have trouble saying no to others, they can become overcommitted and resentful, feeling that everyone else's priorities always come before their own. This can lead to a surprising phenomenon called obliger rebellion, where they suddenly and explosively refuse to meet an expectation, snapping under the weight of it all. Finally, we have the smallest and perhaps most fascinating group, the rebel. Rebels resist all expectations, both outer and inner. Their motto is, "You can't make me, and neither can I." They want to act from a sense of choice, freedom, and self-expression. If you ask or tell a rebel to do something, they are very likely to resist, or do the exact opposite. It doesn't matter if it's a good idea. The fact that someone expects them to do it makes them not want to do it. A rebel might be thinking about emptying the dishwasher. But the moment their partner says, "Hey, can you empty the dishwasher?" an inner voice says, "Well, I was going to, but now that you've asked, I can't." This resistance extends to their own expectations too. They struggle to tell even themselves what to do. Rebels resist habits. The idea of a fixed routine can feel like a cage. They wake up and think, "What do I want to do today?" But this doesn't mean rebels can't be successful. They can be incredibly motivated to achieve their own goals, but it has to be on their own terms. The way to get a rebel to do something is to give them information, present the consequences, and let them make the choice, without an audience. A rebel who wants to stick to a budget won't do it because they're supposed to. They'll do it by thinking, "I refuse to be manipulated by marketers trying to sell me junk." A rebel who wants to exercise won't schedule it. They'll do it when they feel like it, framing it as a choice they make each day, a celebration of their freedom and strength. The value of rebels is that they bring a voice of dissent and challenge the status quo. They protect us all from arbitrary rules. But they can also be deeply frustrating to themselves and others, because you simply can't tell them what to do. So, as you listen to this, where do you see yourself? Are you a disciplined upholder, a logical questioner, a dependable obliger, or a free-spirited rebel? Understanding this one single aspect of your personality is the most important step you can take. Because the strategies that work for one tendency will backfire for another. Trying to give an obliger a list of logical reasons to exercise won't work nearly as well as finding them a running partner. Telling a rebel that people are counting on you is the surest way to make them not show up. This framework is the master key. But it's not the only key. Rubin realized that beyond our tendency, we all have other unique preferences that shape our success with habits. She calls these distinctions. They are a series of simple but powerful pairings that reveal more about our nature. Let's explore a few of the most important ones. Are you a lark or an owl? This isn't just a preference. Research shows it's largely hardwired into our genes and influenced by our age. Larks, or morning people, are most energetic and productive early in the day. Owls are the opposite. It sounds obvious, but so many of us fight against our own chronotype. An owl who tries to force themselves to wake up at 5 a.m. to write is setting themselves up for failure. A lark who saves their most important work for after dinner will likely struggle. The world tends to favor larks, with its early school and work start times, which can make life harder for owls. The lesson is simple: shape your habits to flow with your natural energy, not against it. Next, are you an abstainer or a moderator? This one is huge. Some people find it easier to give something up entirely than to have it in moderation. These are the abstainers. The great 18th century writer Samuel Johnson was once urged by a friend to have just a little wine. He replied, "I can't drink a little, child, therefore I never touch it." Abstinence is as easy to me as temperance would be difficult. For an abstainer, the thought of just one cookie or one glass of wine is torture. It opens the door to endless internal debate. The decision to have none is clean, simple, and requires far less willpower. As Rubin says, for an abstainer, the forbidden isn't tempting. Moderators, on the other hand, get panicky at the thought of never. For them, a small, occasional indulgence strengthens their resolve and prevents them from feeling deprived. Tell a moderator they can never have chocolate again, and they will become obsessed with it. But allow them one square of dark chocolate a day, and they can happily stick to that for years. One of the great sources of habit failure is when abstainers try to be moderators, or vice versa. For years, the conventional wisdom has been that moderation is key, but for many people, that's simply terrible advice. Knowing whether you do better with a bright, clear line of never or the flexibility of sometimes is a game changer. Another powerful distinction: are you a marathoner or a sprinter? This is about your preferred work pace. Marathoners, like Rubin herself, like to work slowly and steadily, chipping away at projects over a long period of time. They dislike the pressure of deadlines and often finish work early. Sprinters are the opposite. They do their best work in short, intense bursts of energy. They thrive on the pressure of a deadline. It focuses their mind and ignites their creativity. A marathoner might call a sprinter irresponsible, and a sprinter might call a marathoner plodding, but there is no right way. It's about knowing which style energizes you. There is a third category here, however: the procrastinator. Procrastinators might look like sprinters because they also finish work at the last minute, but there's a crucial difference. Sprinters choose to work that way and feel good about it. Procrastinators hate working under pressure and wish they could make themselves start earlier, but they can't. They often spend their free time feeling anxious about the work they're not doing. While marathoners and sprinters should embrace their style, procrastinators are happier when they learn to work more steadily. Knowing your tendency and your distinctions gives you the self-knowledge to choose the right strategies. It's like having the user manual for your own brain. With that in hand, we can now turn to the practical tools, the pillars that support any habit you want to build. The first and most powerful pillar is the strategy of monitoring. The old business truism says, "What gets measured, gets managed." Rubin puts it more simply: we manage what we monitor. There is an uncanny power in simply paying attention. The act of tracking your behavior, without even trying to change it, often leads to change. When you keep a food journal, you naturally start to eat better. When you wear a fitness tracker, you find yourself taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Why? Because self-measurement brings self-awareness, and self-awareness strengthens self-control. You can no longer fool yourself. We are notoriously bad at estimating our own behavior. We tend to think we eat less and exercise more than we actually do. Monitoring shows us the truth. Rubin tells the story of getting a Jawbone UP band to track her steps and her food. She was already a sleep zealot, convinced she was getting plenty of sleep. But the tracker revealed the truth: She was often staying up too late, and her good habit wasn't as solid as she believed. The simple act of monitoring allowed her to see the gap between her perception and reality, and she gave herself a firm 10:30 p.m. bedtime. Monitoring makes things concrete. A vague goal like be more informed is hard to act on. But a specific, monitored habit like read the news for 15 minutes every morning is something you can build on. The second pillar is foundation. If you want to build a skyscraper, you don't start with the penthouse windows. You start with a deep, solid foundation. It's the same with habits. Before you try to learn a new language or start a side business, you need to make sure your foundational habits are strong. These are the habits that give you the physical and mental energy to manage yourself. Rubin identifies 4 key areas of foundation. 1. Sleep. This is the bedrock. Lack of sleep destroys self-control, harms your mood, and makes you more susceptible to temptation and procrastination. 2. Move. Exercise is a magical elixir. It boosts energy, improves mood, and strengthens your self-command, making it easier to stick to all your other good habits. 3. Eat and drink right. Your brain needs fuel to manage impulses. Eating regularly and healthfully is one of the best ways to avoid impulsive, unhealthy choices. 4. Unclutter. This one might surprise you, but for most people, outer order contributes to inner calm. A messy desk, an overflowing inbox, a cluttered closet, these are like broken windows. They signal a lack of control that can make it harder to maintain good habits in other areas of your life. As Rubin heard from a friend, I cleaned out my fridge, and now I feel like I can switch careers. There's a powerful psychological connection there. Strengthening these 4 areas gives you the stability and energy to tackle any other habit you want to form. The third pillar is scheduling. This is one of the most powerful and straightforward strategies. If you put something on the calendar, it happens. Scheduling removes the need for decision-making. You don't ask yourself, do I feel like going to class today? Or should I work on this report now or later? It's on the schedule. So you do it. Scheduling is also a powerful tool for making time for the things we enjoy. It's a strange paradox, but sometimes it's harder to make ourselves do something fun than something we don't enjoy. We feel we don't have time for leisure, for hobbies, for just relaxing. But if you schedule choice time, as Rubin saw on her daughter's school schedule, you give yourself permission to have guilt-free fun. Rubin created a weekly habit she calls Power Hour. For 1 hour a week, she tackles all those small, nagging tasks that weigh on her mind, the things that can be done at any time, and therefore are often done at no time. By scheduling it, she ensures those little energy sappers get done. It's crucial to remember that what we do every day matters more than what we do once in a while. And surprisingly, it's often easier to do something every day than some days. Doing something every day removes the debate. You don't have to ask, is today the day? It's just what you do. The final pillar, and this is absolutely critical, especially for obligers, is accountability. We behave differently when we believe someone is watching. Accountability means that we face consequences for our actions, even if that consequence is simply knowing that someone is monitoring us. Deadlines, late fees, grades, these are all systems of accountability that help us stick to our habits. For obligers, external accountability isn't just helpful, it's essential. They need that coach, that trainer, that friend, that group, that deadline to show up for themselves. This is why joining a group, like a book club, a running group, or a class, is so effective. It provides built-in accountability. But accountability works for all tendencies. Even just the feeling of being watched can be powerful. In one study, an office kitchen used an honor system for paying for coffee. When the price list was accompanied by a picture of a pair of eyes, people paid almost 3 times as much as when it was accompanied by a picture of flowers. You can create accountability for yourself by teaming up with a partner, going public with your goals if you're a public resolver, or even using a commitment device, a mechanism that locks you into a decision. One friend of Rubin's wanted to quit drinking for 60 days. He wrote a check to an anti-charity, an organization he passionately opposed, and gave it to his assistant with instructions to mail it if he had a single drink. It worked. The stakes were too high to fail. So we have our self-knowledge, and we have our 4 pillars. But when is the best time to start? Rubin discovered that beginnings hold a special magic. Anytime we start something new, a new job, a new school, a new city, even just a new week, we are given a clean slate. Our old habits are disrupted, creating a window of opportunity where new habits can take root with far less effort. This is why people who want to change their eating or exercise habits are more successful after a move. Their old cues and routines are gone. The first marks on that clean slate are often indelible. This is why it's so important to start the way you want to continue. The habits you form in the first week of a new job are likely to stick with you for years. But you don't have to wait for a major life event. You can create your own clean slate. The start of a new year, a birthday, or even just a Monday morning can provide that sense of a fresh start. Sometimes, change doesn't happen with a new beginning, but with a new idea. This is the strategy of the lightning bolt. A lightning bolt is when you encounter a new piece of information, a new belief, or a new perspective that transforms your habits instantly, without effort or debate. It's something that happens to you. The student is ready, and the teacher appears. A friend of Rubin smoked 2 packs a day for years. One night, she was about to light a cigarette and just thought, "Why am I doing this? Time to stop." She threw the pack away and never smoked again. Rubin experienced this herself when she read a book about nutrition that argued carbohydrates, not calories, are the main reason we gain weight. This idea was a lightning bolt. Overnight, she completely changed the way she ate, and has stuck with it ever since, effortlessly. The old foods were no longer tempting. It was as if they weren't even food anymore. That's the power of a new, deeply held belief. Now, even with the best intentions and the strongest start, we will all face temptation. This is where we need to master our mind and our environment. This brings us to a collection of incredibly practical, everyday strategies. First, there is the duo of convenience and inconvenience. We are shockingly influenced by sheer convenience. We are far more likely to do something if it's easy, and far less likely if it's hard. The secret is to make good habits more convenient, and bad habits less convenient. Want to eat more fruit? Put a fruit bowl on the counter. Want to eat less ice cream? Move it to the back of the freezer behind the frozen vegetables. In one study, when an ice cream cooler's lid was left open, 30% of people bought ice cream. When they had to lift the lid themselves, only 14% did. That tiny bit of inconvenience made a huge difference. Want to exercise in the morning? Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Want to stop checking your phone while driving? Put it in the back seat where you can't reach it. This isn't about willpower, it's about engineering your environment for success. As Rubin wisely says, it's easier to change your surroundings than to change yourself. Next is the brilliant strategy of pairing. This is when you link 2 activities, something you want to do with something you should do. For example, you only allow yourself to watch your favorite TV show while you're on the treadmill. Soon, you'll find yourself looking forward to going to the gym because it's your chance to catch up on your show. Rubin herself only allows herself to read magazines, a favorite treat, while she's on the cardio machines at the gym. The author's sister, Elizabeth, is a perfect example. As a busy TV writer and an obliger, She struggled for years to make exercise a habit. Rubin gifted her a treadmill desk. This was a game changer. She paired her work, something she had to do, with walking. She now walks about 5 miles a day while rewriting scripts and taking calls, without even thinking about it. It's a habit that's seamlessly integrated into her day. Even with these strategies, temptation will strike. That's when you need safeguards. The most powerful safeguard is if-then planning. You anticipate a challenge and decide in advance how you'll respond. If I'm offered dessert at a restaurant, then I will order a cup of herbal tea. If my alarm goes off, then I will immediately put my feet on the floor. This eliminates in-the-moment decision-making, when your willpower is weakest. And when you do stumble, and you will, the key is not to fall. Don't let a single slip-up trigger the what the hell effect. I already ate one cookie, so what the hell, I might as well eat the whole box. A stumble is just a stumble. It's an opportunity to learn what went wrong so you can plan for it next time. To protect ourselves from stumbling, we must become masters of loophole spotting. Loopholes are the clever, tricky justifications we give ourselves to get out of a good habit, just this once. By spotting them, we can disarm them. There are 10 common loopholes. See if any of these sound familiar. The moral licensing loophole. I've been so good about my diet all week, I've earned this pizza. The tomorrow loophole. It doesn't matter what I eat today, because I'm starting my diet tomorrow. The false choice loophole. I can't go to the gym, I'm too busy with work, as if you can't do both. The lack of control loophole. I have to eat the donuts, my coworker brought them in for everyone. This doesn't count loophole, it's vacation. The calories don't count, they always count. The questionable assumption loophole. I can't start working until my desk is perfectly clean. The concern for others loophole. I don't want to hurt my host's feelings by not eating the cake she made. The fake self-actualization loophole. You only live once. I should eat this. And the most insidious of all, the one-coin loophole. What difference does one cigarette make? Or skipping the gym just this one time won't matter. It's true, one instance is meaningless. But the entire heap of our life is built one coin at a time. The moment you can name the loophole you're using, its power over you vanishes. Finally, we come to the relationship between habits and happiness. This brings us to two final, crucial strategies: rewards and treats. And they are not the same thing. A reward is something you earn for good behavior. A treat is something you get just because. And Rubin argues, counterintuitively, that rewards are often dangerous for habit formation. A reward can teach you that the activity itself is unpleasant, something you only do to get the prize. If you reward yourself with an hour of TV for an hour of reading, you're teaching your brain that TV is the real goal and reading is the chore. Also, a reward often creates a finish line. People train for a marathon, cross the finish line, collect their reward, and then stop running for the next 3 years. The habit wasn't to run, it was to finish the marathon. For a habit to stick, there can be no finish line. Treats, on the other hand, are essential. When we give ourselves healthy treats, we feel cared for, energized, and contented. This boosts our self-command, which helps us stick to our habits. If you give more to yourself, you can ask more from yourself. A treat can be as simple as listening to your favorite music, taking a bath, or spending 10 minutes reading a magazine in the middle of the day. The key is that it doesn't have to be earned. It's a way of refueling your tank so you have the energy to keep going. And this brings us to the final, and perhaps most transcendent, idea. Our habits are not just what we do, they are who we are. This is the strategy of identity. It is far easier to act in a way that is consistent with our identity. If you see yourself as the fun one who's always up for a drink, it's hard to cut back. If you see yourself as the girl who eats anything, it's hard to start eating healthfully. But you can change that identity. It's more powerful to think I am a healthy person than I am trying to eat better. It's more powerful to say I'm a runner than I'm trying to run more. One is a task. The other is an identity. By changing our habits, we change the story we tell ourselves about who we are. We become the kind of person who shows up, who is dependable, who is healthy, who is creative. And that, in the end, is the ultimate goal. The power of habits isn't just about being more productive or losing a few pounds. It's about using this invisible architecture to build a life that truly reflects our values. It's about freeing ourselves from the exhausting daily cycle of decision and regret, so that our energy can be spent on higher things, on creativity, on love, on contribution. By mastering our habits, we decide not to decide. We put the best parts of our life on autopilot, and in doing so, we give ourselves the freedom to live more fully and more happily. We learn to build, day by day, our own version of what Rubin's young daughter so brilliantly called everyday life in utopia. Commentary. As we step back and look at the landscape of ideas in Better Than Before, what strikes me most deeply is its profound sense of humanity and permission. For so long, the world of self-improvement has felt like a single, steep mountain that everyone is expected to climb in the exact same way. If you failed, it was your fault. You weren't trying hard enough. You didn't have enough grit. You didn't want it badly enough. Gretchen Rubin gently, but powerfully, dismantles that entire notion. She shows us that there isn't one mountain, there are at least 4 different paths. And the secret to success isn't about more brute force or willpower, but about the wisdom of choosing the right path for you. The discovery of the 4 tendencies feels less like reading a self-help book and more like being given a key to your own personality. It's an aha, a moment that reframes your entire life. Suddenly, past failures make sense. You realize you weren't lazy, you were an obliger trying to use upholder strategies. You weren't undisciplined, you were a rebel being suffocated by a rigid schedule that a questioner designed. This insight alone is worth the price of admission. It replaces self-blame with self-awareness, and that is the starting point of all real change. What I also find so powerful is the emphasis on building a life that feels good to you. The book is not prescriptive. It won't tell you what habits to form with very few exceptions. Instead, it gives you a toolkit and a mirror, and trusts you to be the architect of your own life. Do you want to be a person who wakes up at 5 a.m.? Or a person who does their best work at midnight? Do you want to be free from French fries? Or a person who savors them once a month? The choice is yours, and the book empowers you to make that choice work. The lesson here is that building a better life isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you already are. It's about understanding your nature, your strengths, your weaknesses, your quirks, and then designing a set of habits that works in harmony with that nature, not in conflict with it. So, how can you start applying this wisdom today? It can feel overwhelming, so let's make it simple. First, take a serious moment to figure out your tendency. Are you an upholder, a questioner, an obliger, or a rebel? Be honest with yourself. This is the most important piece of data you can have. Second, don't try to change everything at once. Choose one habit from the foundation 4: sleep, movement, nutrition, or decluttering. Just one. Perhaps it's getting 30 more minutes of sleep, or making your bed every morning. Third, apply one strategy from the book that is tailor-made for your tendency to that one habit. If you're an obliger trying to exercise, find a friend to walk with. That's it. Outer accountability. If you're a questioner, do the research on the profound benefits of that one habit until you are 100% convinced it's the most logical use of your time. If you're an upholder, simply schedule it and put it on your to-do list. If you're a rebel, find a way to frame it as an act of freedom or identity. I'm the kind of person who values my health and energy, and I choose to go for a walk today because it feels good to me. Start there. One habit. One strategy that fits your nature. See how it feels when you stop fighting yourself and start working with yourself? That is the beginning of making your life better than before. That was a summary of Better Than Before by Gretchen Rubin. We certainly touched on the major ideas today, but I'll be honest with you, a summary can only ever be a map. The real treasure is found when you walk the territory yourself. The true magic of a book like this happens in the quiet moments of reading, when a particular story or a simple phrase connects with your own life in a way you didn't expect. This podcast is designed to help you decide if this book is worth your time and attention. If anything we've talked about today has sparked a sense of recognition or curiosity in you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning a set of techniques, it's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see yourself, your struggles, and the incredible potential hidden in your daily life. Also, if you found this summary valuable, please take a moment to click that subscribe button. That way, you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book. Let's keep exploring these powerful ideas and growing together.